Thanks, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Can the Prime Minister confirm that the Morrison-Joyce government's so-called plan for net zero comes with net zero modelling, net zero costs beyond 2030 and net zero legislation?
The Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I can confirm that our plan for achieving net zero emissions by 2050, Mr Speaker, the extensive plan that we've released, Mr Speaker, will achieve that, and we'll achieve that, Mr Speaker, by backing the decisions that Australians are making, particularly across our corporate sector, across, Mr Speaker, our scientific community, that understands that the technological changes that will take place and that we will fund and support through the low emissions technology roadmap, Mr Speaker, and the many other initiatives that we've outlined as a government. That is what gets us to net zero by 2050. What doesn't get us there, Mr Speaker, is taxes and mandates and laws telling people what to do and what they can't do, Mr Speaker, on their farms, in their businesses, in their factories, in their homes, Mr Speaker. That's not what our plan does. The reason Labor doesn't like our plan, Mr Speaker, is because there's no taxes in it. They don't like our plan, Mr Speaker, because there's no mandates telling people what to do and regulations trying to control their lives. That's why Labor doesn't like our plan, Mr Speaker. Australians, of course, want us to achieve net zero by 2050, Mr Speaker, but they don't want a blank cheque. They don't want to be signed up by a blank cheque, which is what the Labor Party want to do with their legislation, Mr Speaker. They don't want the mandates to come down and be told what to do, either on their farm or on their business or in their home or in their car. And I say to the Leader of the Opposition of the Labor Party, what have they got against technology, Mr Speaker? Why do they not have a confidence that in the next 30 years that in the world today, Mr Speaker, we will not see technology breakthroughs which will ensure that we'll be able to close the gap? If that's the case, they should never use one of these because they don't believe they exist, Mr Speaker. An iPhone would never have been existing if it was based on the assumptions of the Leader of the Opposition. He wouldn't think any of these things had happened. We wouldn't have had a COVID vaccine, Mr Speaker, because it hadn't been developed 2 years ago, not even 1 year ago, Mr Speaker, or not much more than 1 year ago. So, Mr Speaker, yes, it's true. I have more confidence in technological innovation and science, Mr Speaker, than I do in taxes and regulations put on the Australian people by the Labor Party. We've got 1 million people back in jobs in manufacturing in this country, Mr Speaker. Under Labor, 1 in 8 jobs in manufacturing gone. And on electricity prices, Mr Speaker, under our government on the latest inflation figures, they've gone up by 3% since we were elected. Under Labor, they went up by 101%, Mr Speaker.